If you think that I'm anti-capitalist, you're wrong. If you think I'm anti-communist, you're also wrong. If you think I'm pro-capitalist, you're wrong. If you think I'm pro-communist, you're also wrong. I am the working class guru. I'm here to bring a traditional sense of camaraderie among the proletarian people who've known nothing but the atypical ideologies that have been transferred down to them by the big corporate interests, that is, in the form of multi-billion-dollar advertising campaigns, the likes of which have consistently and just bombarded the mental and the ethereal imaginary space of the normal, everyday, working class person. And this has generally created a worldview that has always typically leaned us towards just whatever ultra suggestive references that the given powers that be have commanded unto us. They are the ecumenical order of the modern day religion of money. Peace be upon it. I'm not bashing it. I'm not here to bash money, okay? I love money. And every single person on the planet, I freaking guarantee you that if you are living under the yoke of some sort of an employer, if you're living under the chattel in order to foist forward a business proposition, an enterprise, then you too are under and feeling the yoke of money. We don't hate money around here. We use money positively to create a peaceful and working society that meets our needs and that doesn't exploit us. There's a graph. Look at that graph. Look at this graph here. I'm going to put that up. Look at that. That's the division between the ultra-wealthy and the poor. If we were seeing a society whereby the trickle-down economic mythology was actually working, they would be co-aligned, paralleled. They would be moving in one static upward hockey stick formula. But no, they're completely dividing against each other. What is that? Why is the wealth gap moving in one way? Why is the wealth gap continuously being what is this? Why is this huge divide occurring when we're supposed to be seeing what we would like to be seeing is that there's a little bit of a divide, just a little bit of between the rich and the poor, the ultra wealthy business noble entrepreneurs, peace be upon them and their enterprises. May the gods of capitalism rain fortune down upon them and their employee serfs. I'm not saying that I want this thing to completely end. I'm just saying that let's try to figure out why it's not working right now. Because it was supposed to work with Reaganomics. It was supposed to work with trickle-down economics in the 80s. It was supposed to start bringing in the reins, this reining back on taxation. It was supposed to, on corporate taxation, what was it? And capital gains. It was supposed to be an aligned, symbiotic hockey stick moving gracefully up the ladder so that both we see that not only is there still the divide between the aristocratic nobility who owns the wealth, there's still the hierarchical corporate hierarchies which are inherently keeping us within the grounds of some sort of a class structure, rank, social rank. But it's completely changed. It is in no way, shape, or form. What we're seeing now is that it's benefiting the bourgeoisie capitalist class, and it's nearly completely excommunicating the working class, the peasantry, the people that are the ones who are the laborers. And this wealth gap is... what you see, like, okay, let me give you an example of a wealth gap that is being portrayed in modern. That's we're focalizing on the gender wealth gap. And this is more or less. Of course, there's a gender wealth gap. Okay, I just don't know. I don't know enough about it in order to surmount a plausible, argumentative set of diatribes against it or for it. I don't know. It seems to me for me, it seems 100% like that when it's being adopted by these large corporate entities, when it's being, when people are explaining the way we're bringing women up in society, and it's being advertised. I never saw them being held down. I never saw women. I wouldn't participate in something that was so egregious towards my beloved. We love women. I don't think that this society has been egregious in that way towards them. It's allowed a space, at least, for people to realize and self-actualize within the free market enterprises, and that they can bring their goods to service into the sphere of the market, and and those ideas or those commodities which do the least good are eradicated because of the fact that they can't. It's almost a tabula rasa of bringing these things. You have to be able to compete within this market space in the free market. And what I find that's kind about the gender equality gap kind of frightening is that people they're not saying, well, why don't we get rid of the whole employment idea together? Why don't we ameliorate it in some way, or we reform it in a way to where it's beneficial for everybody? And instead, it's focalizing on one thing, and I think it's taking away some of the focus away from the gross divide. Let's bring that up again. This gross divide between the rich and poor, and you see that you see it celebrated all the time in these commercial meanderings and advertisements. We're celebrating the this and this and this and our strive for general diversity, but they're never talking about how this is the real problem for me. If we can take care of this problem, the general wealth gap, I think that there'll be a gross we'll be able to stave off at least the gross inconsistencies with the general ideas of how our society is supposed to function. It's supposed to be able. Aren't we supposed to be symbiotic? Aren't we supposed to be able to work together to move things forward? I don't know. Maybe I'm just ranting. Maybe I possibly don't know, but I would assume that it would be better. We would be better off if we could focus first and foremost on. I mean, what is that? What is the gender inequality gap? They want more employment. They want more women in the workplace. Why? Why do we need more employees? Why is it that when our ideologies fall apart, we'll always latch on to wage slavery? What is it? You want to make more people wage slaves. That's all that it is. You want more employees in the workforce? You can have them. Is that what people want? Do you understand what that entails? Do you understand that it involves yourself basically subjecting yourself to a corporate hierarchy? It seems egregious, all in all. It seems relatively. Maybe because I'm the working class guru. I've lived as a peasant of the nobility of the capitalist hierarchy. Peace be upon them, for many ages, for 15 years or so. And to me, I can't compare it to anything else than to the second stage, a more reformed version of what was essentially simply chattel slavery. I mean, you can't physically assault your employees, but I guarantee if you gave them the option to either be fired or to endure some sort of a physical punitive bodily harm, I guarantee maybe 1 in 10 persons would say, yeah, I need my job. I'll let you lash me 10 times for this. It's that rigidly constructed and woven into the fabric of our beings to be employees. And this wage gap, it's horrific if you're arbitrarily paying a woman less simply because she's a woman, then you're a horrible human being in comparison to your male counterparts. But I've worked at plenty of jobs where there are women I was doing the exact same work and I'm getting paid less, or getting paid less. I mean, but it was because they're working harder than I was. I had when I was working as a bartender, I had one employee. There was one employee who was in the same level as I was, but she had gone to bartending school and she knew like thousands of cocktails off the top of her head, and she got a raise easier than I would. We didn't start at the same time. She was maybe about a year ahead of me, but still, I mean, we were technically doing the same job. I mean, there's tons of variables that latch onto it, and I feel, this is just my gut feeling, I feel like it's been heavily focalized by the media and by the corporate entities because it's acting as a red herring. If you don't know what a red herring is when in a fox hunt, when all the dogs were sniffing out for the fox, they would trail a red herring to take them off the scent. Or no, it was like if you were a fugitive and they suck the hounds on you, you could throw a red herring out and it would take your trail off, or take them off your trail. It's something that moves the scent of the dogs off of the fugitive's trail, and I think that the red herring here might be the gender gap, because it seems a lot more, it's easier to sell it to the people than the gross divide of the wealth gap. This huge this divide, it's just a chasm, and it's only going to be getting worse here. Maybe that's just my feeling about it. Don't get all up in arms. I want pure consciousness. I want class unconsciousness. I don't want false consciousness arising. I don't want to be a purveyor in one sense or the other of creating a sort of a hierarchy. By no means whatever I say is not etched in granite. I'm open to other opinions, and I'm open to seeing and experiencing the world through open eyes. But why is it that people are talking more about the gender gap than the wealth gap between the rich and the poor? They just want to talk about what men and women are paid. It seems like they're still focalizing on employment and keeping them in that rigid system of worker bees that continuously move their bodies like this and produce money for their supreme noble business lords. I don't know. That's one of my little takes on it. Wealth gap versus the gender gap. Why, oh why? All right.